Rochester Community Schools is pleased to present its newly established guidelines and protocols for students with food allergies. The purpose of this video is to acquaint all stakeholders with these guidelines.
My food allergies are peanuts, tomatoes, avocado, kiwi, banana. Peanuts, eggs, shellfish, and strawberries. I'm allergic to shellfish and peanuts. I'm allergic to peanuts. Peanuts and tree nuts. To peanuts. To peanuts. To nuts and tree nuts and peanuts.
To peanut butter?
Milk, eggs, peanuts.
I don't want to be allergic to anything. It says, Charlie, you don't eat.
You don't eat what?
I don't eat peanuts.
And that's what it says?
That's what it says. Well, it was for snack, and I didn't know there was peanuts in it, and my teacher didn't know either, so I did eat one.
And then what happened?
And then I had an allergic reaction. Sometimes I need EpiPens. And if it has no labels on it, I can't eat it.
I think that it's really hard watching other people eat things that you're allergic to.
I have big itchy bumps, and it lasted for a week. Like when they use a pan for if they use peanut oil in it, and then they don't clean it out or just rinse it with water, but they don't do a very good job of it, then they cook something for me in it, then I could have an allergic reaction.
We are having snack time and I ate it, so I went to the health room. They had EpiPen, the police and firemen came, and there are 5 firemen and 2 police that came to our school.
It really stinks because sometimes I don't even get to sit next to my friends at lunch.
It makes me feel like I'm excluded from a game like that. So there's a really fun game going on, a race or a soccer game. And then somebody says, oh, you can't play in it because we already have enough people. It feels like that to me because you don't get to have what your friends are having.
I wish that I had no food allergies.
Someday I want to eat peanut butter.
I wish I could have cow's milk, but I can't because I'm allergic to it.
Chocolate, peanut butter, cookies. A pizza would have chocolate sprinkles.
It would be nice if they could come up with a cure by tomorrow. That'd be nice. Very nice.
For a long time, many organizations have been calling for school food allergy management guidelines, and several have been coming out with those guidelines. The Rochester guidelines are based on many of those organizations. Rochester joined several schools across the nation in establishing guidelines. This is a recent news story from one such district.
Now, CBS 2 News brings you the top stories covering the corridor. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention took a step forward this afternoon in the fight against childhood food allergies.
They have issued the first ever national guidelines to help schools help families dealing with the problem. CBS 2's Sadie Hughes joins us now to take a look at the advice they're giving. Sadie. Scott and Tiffany, it is a big issue. By 2006, the CDC reported that 88% of schools had one or more students with a food allergy. Now, the most common are to peanuts, then milk, and shellfish. Some students even need to carry an epinephrine or EpiPen with them to prevent a life-threatening allergic reaction. In the new guidelines, the CDC suggests that schools identify students with food allergies and make a plan to prevent exposure and manage reactions if they occur. Now, that could include training teachers how to use medicines like EpiPens. But while preventative measures can help, 25% of children experience their first allergic reaction at school without a prior diagnosis. But one local allergist says that's not as common here.
I do think that the schools in this area have done a great job having people do food allergy action plans so that they have medicines on hand to treat reactions. They have a plan of action as to how and when they will give those medications.
Also, the Cedar Rapids School District doesn't serve peanuts in food at all. Now, we've reached out to several local school districts, some of whom say they are just starting to sift through the guidelines to figure out how it can assist their district in fighting food allergies. In the studio, Sadie Hughes, CBS 2 News.
Now, CBS 2 News brings you...
Rochester Guidelines consists of two documents: a shorter, more user-friendly protocol-based document, and a larger, more reference-based document that schools and staff can refer to. And now we're going to review the more general guidelines and protocols. Eliminate unscheduled, unplanned food celebrations and or food rewards. Rewards should be non-food items only. Inform parents and guardians ahead of time of any classroom activity or school events where food will be served. During school hours, food should not be taken to common areas such as the school office, principal's office, media centers, multi-purpose rooms, playgrounds, computer labs, or other classrooms. If food is served in these areas outside of school hours or during non-student events, thorough cleaning processes must be followed. Classroom-provided birthday celebrations will be limited to non-edible items and or activities. Refer to alternatives to food-based celebrations and rewards in the appendix of the Managing Life-Threatening Allergies in School Children Guidelines and Practices for Activity Ideas. All students should provide his or her snack each day, unless buying food from the cafeteria. Classroom-provided snacks are not allowed. Snacks eaten in classrooms should be free from allergens specific to students in that room. After snacks are eaten in classrooms, tables should be cleaned with warm, soapy water or wipes, and all students should wash their hands to prevent potential cross-contamination. Before and after hours school-sponsored events that serve food must identify a clearly defined area where food will be served or consumed. The student with life-threatening allergies and his or her family should be notified well in advance of these events. Again, thorough cleaning processes must be followed, which would include surfaces and tables with which food has come into contact be cleaned with warm, soapy water or wipes. For classroom or school-wide student events during school hours, only manufactured foods with ingredient labels should be served. Individual packaged foods are best. If food is not individually wrapped, ingredient labels should be available and are posted for students or family members to review. Principals must be consulted by event planners, including staff, students, parents, and guardians, before food is served, as food should not be offered that contain known food allergens listed in the medical action plans on file for that building. All student events during non-school hours in which food is served should have manufactured food items with ingredient labels available. Thorough cleaning processes should be followed. Listed in the guidelines and protocols are specific responsibilities for various stakeholders, including student, parent and guardians, superintendent, principal, teachers, secretaries, field trip staff, paraeducators, volunteers, lunch paraeducators, food service directors, school nurse, school-age caregiver, bus drivers, and custodians. Because we are discussing food in schools, it is appropriate to bring up the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010, a law in which the U.S. Department of Agriculture made requirements that take effect July 1st, 2014. The Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010 directed the USDA to establish nutrition standards for all foods and beverages sold to students in school during the school day, including foods sold through school fundraisers. The new Smart Snacks and School Nutrition Standards will help schools to make the healthy choice the easy choice by offering students more of the foods and beverages we should be encouraging: whole grains, fruits and vegetables, leaner protein, lower fat dairy, while limiting foods with too much sugar, fat, and salt. This act required that the USDA establish nutrition standards for all foods and beverages sold in school beyond the federal child nutrition programs in schools. The law specifies that the nutrition standards shall apply to all foods sold outside the school meal programs, on the school campus, and at any time during the school day. The standards apply to foods that are a la carte in the cafeteria, to foods in school stores, snack bars, vending machines, or other venues. Where and when do the standards apply? On the school campus, all areas of the property under jurisdiction of the school that are accessible to students during the school day, and during the school day, the period from the midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. The following are a summary of the USDA fundraising standards. State agencies establish limits on number of infrequent exempt fundraisers that may be held during the school year. The state of Michigan has not established any exemptions yet. Schools may establish additional standards. No exempt fundraiser foods or beverages may be sold in competition with school meals in food service areas during meal service. All foods that meet the regulatory standards may be sold at fundraisers on the school campus during school hours. The standards would not apply to items sold during non-school hours, weekends, or off-campus fundraising events. To be allowable, a food item must meet all of the competitive food nutrient standards. Please see additional materials for those standards. How will Rochester meet these guidelines? By focusing on the following: during the school day, school stores, by addressing food sold and the curricular goals of school stores, by fundraising by clubs, PTAs, and groups, and focusing on foods that do meet the guidelines. What about schools or classroom events that serve free food? These are not subject to the guidelines set forth by the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act. But keep in mind they are subject to the RCS food allergy guidelines and protocols. For more information, visit the USDA website or the following link. This concludes our presentation. On behalf of the RCS administration, I would like to thank you for taking the time to view.